I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV episode number 150. Hooray! Woohoo! We have nothing special planned for this momentous occasion other than to thank you for watching our videos week in and week out and encouraging us to do 150 of these. We will continue as long as you're watching. Or until we hate doing it. Whatever happens first. But welcome to our new viewers, to our old viewers. Welcome one and all. We're going to talk about this week's best comics, and then we're going to do a top 5 list at the end of the episode. One of your suggestions for top 5. So, let's start with my pick of the week, Red Sonja number 7, written by Gail Simone, artwork by Walter Giovanni. This book has made my top 3 almost every week, every month that it's come out. So, and as you may recall, go back and watch the episode from 7 months ago when the first issue came out. I am not a big Red Sonja fan. I don't like sword and sorcery as much as other people. But I think this character is perfect for Gail Simone to write. She has a nice mix of contemporary yet, fantasy language. When you're watching something you don't expect, with the exception of A Knight's Tale, where they're using current speak and 70s rock music.
It's called a lance. Hello.
But it's just so good. Red Sonja as a character has been around for decades. 30 years, I think? 40 years? 50? I don't know how many years. Longer than me. I'm 40 years old.
Late 70s, right? So.
And Simone has breathed new life into this character. It's kind of a mixture of Game of Thrones meets Veronica Mars.
I'll take it.
Yes. The dialogue in this issue specifically is very, very funny. There's an inner monologue, I guess, with the character. And this is the beginning of a new story arc. So, that means, number one, that the first volume is now available in trade paperback format, and we have it. So if you haven't read the single issues and you're a trade waiter, come on in and pick up the first volume. Number two, it's the beginning of a new story arc. And the nice thing about this is that it appears that Sonja is on a quest, and she's supposed to be searching for 6 things, I believe. She may end up finding each thing per issue, so I'm saying this completely wrong. I don't know why. But the quest for thing number 1 happens in this issue, and the quest is over for that thing by the end of this issue. So I think we're going to see 6 consecutive issues or 5 consecutive issues questing after one thing per issue. Giovanni's artwork is awesome. I am thrilled that he has been the same artist on all 7 issues. It always makes me happy when a creative team stays consistent on a book, and that's what we've gotten with Red Sonja. Consistent quality. Well done.
Up on this side, we have a DC book, Justice League number 28. This is featuring, as you may see from the cover, the Metal Men. This is their triumphant return or rebirth or first full appearance in the New 52, and it's really solid. It is by and large a Metal Men-centric issue. You've got Cyborg running around trying to put together some people to, save the world from the crime syndicate, and one of the people he approaches is Will Magnus. And so Magnus tells us the story of his Metal Men, and it's really good. They stick to kind of the classic Metal Men story, but they contemporize parts of it. Magnus's personality is much more real, much more modern person. The way in which the Metal Men interact is a little more modern, and it's just a lot of fun. The Metal Men are one of those great kind of self-contained DC groups. There's, the Challengers of the Unknown and all these little kind of side pockets, the Legion of Superheroes, that have their own fan base, but they're not usually broadly accepted. And I really like this incarnation in Justice League. I'm excited to see what they do with them. And I hope eventually things are not forever evil anymore. Maybe they're forever good or forever mediocre.
I've never been a fan of the Metal Men, but this made me want to I want to read a Metal Men series now written by Jeff Johns with artwork by Ivan Reis and Joe Prado. Great stuff. A new number 1 this week, part of Marvel's all-new Marvel Now. New Warriors number 1 by Christopher Yost and Marcus Toe. Full disclosure, this book is not for me. I think this may be the first time that we don't endorse something that we're talking about. And I have one reason why this book is not for me. That reason is Speedball. I hate the character. Hate him. I don't want to read anything with Speedball in it. I think he's a dumb character. His personality's horrible. He grates on me. Having said that, I know that there are a lot of New Warriors fans out there, people that grew up with the New Warriors in the 90s. And this book is for you. Absolutely, 100%. We've got Vance Astro, Justice, and Robbie speedball annoying guy. Basically fighting crime. They set up shop in New Salem, where you've got Salem 7, which is a throwback to some Marvel characters that we haven't seen in a long time. These are all children of the devil that are kind of repenting and trying to do good instead of serving their evil master father. One of the cool things, many cool things about it, Nova, Sam Alexander, is in here, one of my favorite Marvel characters right now. Kane from Kung Fu. No, Kane from Scarlet Spider is here in some capacity.
We were doing the Sons of the Devil. I thought it was going to be Cain from the Bible, but
yes, Cain and Abel. And then they're connecting previous versions of the New Warriors. You've got someone related to Namora who shows up. You've got some other people I don't even know. Sun Girl. Who the hell's Sun Girl? I don't know. And two other people on the cover that I'm not familiar with. Actually, the girl is, what is her name? She was in the Scarlet Spider series. She's kind of Kane's sidekick. Yeah. So she's in here. It's a good book. It is. It's a really good starting point. It's just not for me. So if you're a New Warriors fan, if you're interested in a new team made up of a hodgepodge of characters, Christopher Yost is an excellent writer. So I have no doubt that this will continue to be good. It'll just be good without me.
It's time to talk about Daredevil 36. This is the last issue of Daredevil by Mark Waid. Art by Chris Samney. I'm sorry, world, that I couldn't save Daredevil for you. It's okay, though. Daredevil's coming back next month, 2 months.
Tune in for Daredevil #1 next month.
With Mark Waid.
Yeah! And Chris Samney, the entire same creative team, is back with a new #1 next month. Which is a good thing, because it's a great book.
It is a great book. It's an amazing book, and I especially like this issue because Waid did a lot of different things in the 2.5 years that the series has been going on, and he actually managed to bring a significant portion of them to a close, but still leave some balls in the air, so we have a reason to tune in and see what happens next in the saga of Matt Murdock. We've got kind of what appears to be the ultimate confrontation with the Sons of the Serpent. We've got revelations about Matt's personal life and about career life, professional life, maybe, is what we'll pair that with. And I guess I don't know what to tell you. If you haven't been reading Daredevil, you're wrong. But if you have, you're going to love this issue. And someday, those of you who will come to the light and see that you should have been reading Daredevil all along.
Great book.
So awesome.
100%. Looking forward. I don't know how much to give away.
Right.
It's in the solicitation material. So if you've seen the solicits for Daredevil #1, Matt Murdock is moving out west.
He and the
Punisher, which is, I'm sure, just an excuse to have the Punisher and Daredevil team up somewhere out west. And then Spider-Man will end up there somehow, and we'll get them back together again. Good stuff. All right, speaking of good stuff, and I have to say that I said to Josh this morning after we read our comics, he lives in one place, I live in the other. We don't live together.
It's not like we were having breakfast in bed.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this was like comfort food week for me. A lot of my favorite books came out this week. They're not #1s. They're just, Red Sonja, Nova, and Amazing X-Men is actually another one that's on my comfort food list.
Nova was really good, too, this week.
Nova was really good.
Better rebuild.
There's almost no point in us talking about Nova because so few of you are buying it at this point. I don't know what to do to make you read Nova. And if you've tried it and you hate it, please let us know why, because it's just so good. Really, really good. And actually, this week's issue is an all-new Marvel Now #1, even though it's number 11 or 12 or 15 or whatever it is. But anyway, Amazing X-Men. So this is Jason Aaron's X-Men series now that he's not doing Wolverine and the X-Men, and it is Wolverine and his crew, Storm, Firestar, Iceman, Beast. I think that's it. My missing. Oh, Northstar. And they are in heaven and hell and purgatory, and Nightcrawler's there. And this is kind of, in a way, the payoff issue, because for me, this book was about Wolverine being able to see his best friend again, being able to see Nightcrawler again. And there's a scene in here where they are reunited, and everyone...
And it feels so good.
I have a feeling that something horrible is coming, because everyone is so excited to see Kurt Wagner. And they say, Kurt, you're alive. And he said, nope, still dead. And he says this all the time. So I think there's going to be something which is going to prevent Kurt from rejoining the land of the living, or this is going to be a brief reconnection with these characters. Having said all that, though, it's so good. Ed McGuinness's artwork is awesome, and I think I'm seeing a common thread here, because McGuinness did the first arc of Nova, which I really enjoyed. He did the first arc of Red Hulk, which was really solid. He's doing the first arc of Amazing X-Men. So if you like Ed McGuinness's art, there's no excuse for not picking this up. And Jason Aaron, is a child of Marvel Comics, I think. I mean, I get that feeling. The same way that Brian Michael Bendis is, that they read these characters, they're in their DNA, they're in their blood, and they write them extremely well. And they write them the way I want to read them. And it may not be for everybody, but for 40-year-old Marvel comic fans, it's a great time to be a Marvel comic fan, because we're getting forward momentum with these characters, but the writers are capturing their voices just the way that I want to hear them.
And the beautiful thing about that is, in this day and age, almost everything important in the last 40 years from Marvel is in print. You know, the big things. Just because you haven't been reading Marvel Comics since the 70s or the 80s doesn't mean you can't get back into it and really enjoy these. You know, you can pick up graphic novels of all the key storylines and kind of get that same feel. So if you want to enjoy the way Mark enjoys it.
Well, and it's not a funny thing, but, you know, I'm not the same person I was when I was 10 years old. I can't read. Secret Wars is the first thing that got me into comics, and I loved it. When I read it now, it doesn't hold up so well for me as an adult, but I still have that emotional connection to it. So, you know, if I go back and I read the Claremont books from the 1980s, I'm not going to have it's not going to have the same impact as they did when I read them for the very first time. So this is kind of taking the place of those things. It's filling that emotional need to be connected to these characters. I'm a very needy individual, apparently.
All right, and last up in the new stuff this week is Loki, Ragnarok and Roll from Boom Studios.
Copyright Boom Studios.
For now. Written by Eric Esquivel and art by Jerry Gaylord. And I will fully admit that I picked this up purely for you people. I read it because I'm like, well, I need to be able to review it to tell people what's going on. I was wrong. It's actually really fun. It starts in a very kind of classic Asgardian style with Thor and Odin and Loki, and Thor and Loki get sent off on a mission to deal with one of the Heims, Svartalfheim or Jotunheim, one of the Heims. And it's very cool. You've got kind of a similar dynamic to what you see at Marvel, but this is a little more in touch with the kind of mythological roots of it. It's got a very modern sensibility, you know, the dialogue back and forth, the bantering, you know, there's still some these and thous, but the core of the way they talk is very intelligible and very relatable for family stuff. And it results, like another story of classic Norse people, in Loki getting kicked out and having to go to Earth, much like Thor did back in the Marvel days. And it's about Loki finding his place in the human world. And it's just remarkably fun and cool. Very hip dialogue. You've got Loki both being true to his form as a trickster and still being a somewhat sympathetic or relatable character, because who hasn't, you know, hated their parents or their family at one point and wanted to stir things up just for mischief purposes. So Loki, Ragnarok, and Roll. Better than I thought it was.
Never mind. I was raising my hand. I haven't hated my parents and wanted to stir things up.
Sometimes you gotta stir things up.
All right. So as promised, let's get to our top 5 this week, and this is a viewer suggestion. I think it's been suggested a couple of times. We're going to do our top 5 Green Arrow stories, and there really is no better place to start than Green Lantern, Green Arrow by Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams. And the great thing about that, there's so many great things about this. It's still readable. It's still timely. This book came out in the 70s when there were lots of what do I want to say here? Issues in the world. You had the civil rights movement. You had the women's movement. You had
that lying son of a bitch Johnson in Vietnam.
Yes. You had Vietnam going on. And this was a very political book. And you had Hal Jordan, who represented the conservative side of things, and Oliver Queen, who represented the liberal side of things. But they're really good friends. So it's very interesting to see them thrown together. They actually go on a road trip. That's what much of the collection is, them on a road trip. And I believe it was called Hard Traveling Heroes was what it was. So you get the interplay between Green Lantern and Green Arrow. You get some great timeless stories. You get the Speedy as a heroin junkie story in this collection. And I should say, first it was available as 2 volumes. It's now available in 1 oversized volume, very affordably priced. And one of the great things about it, I'm saying one of the great things a lot, but it's something that's unfortunately missing from the New 52 is those relationships. Because the characters are new and they're still trying to learn who their friends are. They're trying to reestablish some of that with characters like Batman and Superman and the Flash and Green Lantern. But, you know, you see that these guys are really good friends, but they can get on each other's nerves very quickly, primarily because of their political beliefs. So if you're looking for a good starting point, I would absolutely recommend Green Lantern, Green Arrow. It is awesome.
Actually, are we doing this chronologically?
We're going to do it chronologically, so Josh should have gone first because I need to jump in again and talk about Green Arrow, The Longbow Hunters. This was Mike Grell's baby in the 80s. And it was actually pre-Vertigo, but it was an adult book involving a DC superhero. So it's definitely an R-rated, well, today it might be PG-13.
Yeah.
At the time, it was an R-rated superhero story. And Green Arrow ends up in Seattle. He moves out west. Dinah Lance is there, Black Canary. And it's just if you want a more adult version of Green Arrow, this is where you start. He is a lot more vicious. I think he turned his back on being a superhero, and he's more of a vigilante now. He's more of a Batman-esque character instead of being the jolly Robin Hood archetype. Just really good, and it is the next logical place to go after Green Lantern, Green Arrow.
And after Green Lantern, Green Arrow,
Problems today.
Some things happened, and Oliver Queen died. Doesn't matter how. Something about the sun going out. There was a bomb on a plane.
Isn't there a plane? Yeah.
Yeah.
Snakes on a plane?
Doesn't matter at all. What matters is they brought him back in Quiver, written by Kevin Smith of Clerks and Mallrats and whatever else fame.
The Widening Gyre.
Batman the Widening Gyre. Bullseye.
Target. Daredevil, Bullseye, Target. Anyway.
And it's actually really good. In the same way that someone like Brian Michael Bendis has that kind of in-his-blood feel for the Marvel Universe, Smith is clearly a big comic fan. He's known, obviously, primarily for his studio work, or for his film work, I guess not really studios.
He's a rapper.
Yeah. His ability to take all of the minutia that fans care about and weave it together into a story that makes sense logically and resonates emotionally is really unparalleled. It's just a great story. Ollie's dead, and we see the effect on his family members. We see flashbacks to when things are cool. We also see how it all brings him back, and it's a very interesting story because it lives in the time that it was published. I mean, you've got Hal Jordan is the Spectre. Hal's dead and acting as the Spectre, the spirit of God's wrath, or depending on how DC wanted to call it at that time. And it's Barry was dead at that point, so we see some cameos of him. We have some Heaven Set stuff. And it's just amazingly good. And what it also did, rather than just bringing back the status quo, it kind of evolved things forward. Because when Ollie comes back, he's sort of lost part of his brain. He's mind. He's a homeless person living on the streets, but there's still some sparks of who he used to be. We see a new sidekick come in who's a heroin addict with AIDS or a prostitute. Yeah, it's just really modern comics that has a classic sensibility and just awesome.
It is so awesome that DC, we would like you to put it back in print, please, because it is out of print. We can't even get it to sell it to you fine folks, so you might have to find one on the aftermarket. I hope that they put it out in some format because it is really good, and it's a great starting point. Again, with the popularity of the Arrow TV series, people are looking for Green Arrow stuff to read, and there just isn't a lot. So DC, please. In fact, I'm going to see the upper echelon of DC staff next week. I will implore you to put Quiver back into stock somewhere, somehow. Nice hardcover. They did a nice hardcover.
They did.
They should do it again. All right, so after Kevin Smith did 12 issues on Green Arrow, the next writer to step in was Brad Meltzer of Decoded fame and Abraham Lincoln, yes, Identity Crisis, which is incredibly cool. I was thinking of the kids' books he just put out, I Am Abraham Lincoln and I Am Amelia Earhart. But Meltzer comes in, and he writes a storyline called
Archer's Quest?
Archer's Quest, yes. And it is that. It is a quest. Ollie and Speedy, Roy, are on a quest, and they're like getting things that used to be in the Arrow Cave. They're off. It's basically a father-son type bonding story. Very lighthearted, but action-packed, and for a long-time DC fans, it's just a great story. It's just great. That's the one I own in a hardcover, because it is so good. And you don't really have to have Quiver to go to Archer's Quest. You can jump in there. Is that available in softcover?
I'm not sure at the moment.
But that's where you go. The 90s Green Arrow series was really good. I mean, you had over a year of Kevin Smith stories and then Brad Meltzer stories. So this one is, again, Green Arrow reconnecting with Speedy after coming back from the dead, and it involves lots of other DC characters, and it was just really solid.
And I believe we also see the pickup truck from
Hard Traveling Heroes.
From Hard Traveling Heroes,
makes an appearance. Yes. Does Ganthet show up?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's a love letter to Green Arrow's history. But.
All right, this last one is Green Arrow Year One by Jock and Andy Diggle.
Andy Diggle, that's correct.
So the team behind The Losers did a mini-series called Green Arrow Year One, and this is perfect for you fans of the Arrow TV series. Many elements from the show were pulled from this book. So you're going to say something?
No.
You're just breathing.
I liked it. It was good. No, it's not a coincidence that Diggle is the name of a character on the show.
Yes.
It's very clearly the inspiration for the Arrow show. Lots of elements were drawn directly from Year One.
Yeah, this is Ollie on the island. Ollie Oxenfree. This is Oliver on the island trying to survive and how he becomes Green Arrow, hence the title Green Arrow, Year One. Jock's artwork is outstanding in this. If you're a fan of his artwork from The Black Mirror or any of the other things, The Losers that he's done, he's doing a lot of work in Hollywood, so lots of people like his stuff. So if you like that style of art, you will absolutely love Green Arrow Year One. And again, I can't stress enough that if you like the show and you're looking for a jumping in point, that's probably the most logical place to start, and then go back and check out this other stuff. Good stuff. And this was all pre-New 52.
Right.
Sadly,
there is a new New 52 series that's going to be coming out. It's the first stuff Lemire did that was actually really solid. It'll be out in trade here in a month or so.
That's what pulled me back into Green Arrow. I checked out the relaunch of the New 52, and it just didn't click with me. But once Jeff Lemire came on and Andrea Sorrentino, that's the arc to jump into in the New 52. So there you have it. Green Arrow, top 5 graphic novels, top 5 stories that you should check out. So keep the suggestions coming. I know several of you have made suggestions in the comments of the videos, and we're going to try and get to as many as we can, but we have to do this every week. We need lots of top 5 suggestions, and maybe we'll come up with some of our own. So thank you, as always, for watching. Share this with your friends and family and people that you think might like it, and we'll see you next week.